Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Matt with Master of None. On today's video, we're going to be putting the Granberg mini mill on the log and getting ready for our first cut. So come along with me on this adventure and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so let me show you the mill log, or the mill's guide beam. What we have here, we have a 2x6. You guys can see that. There we go. We have a 2x6 here, and we have this aluminum rail. So it's attached, it's screwed down to this 2x6. And what we do is we line up the line I made in the log with this edge. Okay, you can see I have a bunch of screws, and I'll screw it into this log. And then the portion that goes onto the chainsaw, I'll show you that in a minute, but it rides along this rail right here. So let me get this set up and then I'll show you how to attach the guide to the chainsaw. One thing I failed to do is to measure the log. Hopefully it's not over 8 feet, otherwise I'll be taking a walk back to the shop to get a tape measure. I forgot my tape measure. Anyways, hopefully this will work. The log is too long. The log is too long. All right, well, I'm gonna put on my chaps and I'll cut this board or this log to length, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so now that's to length. I'm going to lay the guide beam onto the log and screw that down, and we'll show you how this works. So that just lays on top there, like so. And I cut off my mark. Now that I have it lined up, I'll take you in closer to show you what I did. Okay, so you can see the edge is lined up with the line, so the kerf should go right there. Now you guys can see it. right there. So the chainsaw's gonna run along the top of this, and it should give me a nice flat surface. And we'll see how that works in a minute. Okay, so this is the Granberg mini mill. So obviously it's got a handle, it's got a clamp here, and 2 bolts. These bolts are what pinch into the chainsaw bar. All right. Also, you can see we have this rail here. Now the rail fits into the rail that's on that guide beam. The chainsaw I'm going to be using for this is my Husqvarna 455 Rancher. Now I have had very good luck with this guy. Oh yeah, we need oil and gas. I bought this, gosh, 2007, 12 years ago? Yeah, 12 years ago. It's been a great saw. It is a prosumer saw. Technically, it's a little small for this application, but it's worked so far. I mentioned this in a previous video. When you're milling, you're taxing the saw pretty hard. And with a little research with the guys from Forestry Forum, FYI, thanks a lot, guys. A lot of great information. They said that these prosumer saws have a limited duty cycle. The pro saws, the ones you're going to pay $1,200, $1,500 for, they have a 100% duty cycle, so you can basically run them flat out, and that's what they're designed to do. These prosumer saws, it's not the case. So, first tip was, always make sure you have full gas and full oil when you start. And then, once you're started, you don't want to tax this thing. So, I don't want to go over the duty cycle. So basically what I found what works for me is I run it for about 2 minutes on the mill and let it sit for about 1.5 minutes or so to cool down. The other thing is you want to make sure this intake is clear and any debris from the cooling fins on your piston head are clear, because you want it to be cool. Once you're done running it or done cutting, you want to sit and let it idle for about 4 minutes, 2 to 4 minutes, to allow the cool air to be drawn across that and cool down. If you shut it off right away when it's super hot, you can seize the piston to the piston head, so you don't want to do that. All right, so a couple things before we start. Got it gassed up, want to grease the end. Okay, got that done. Now let's put the mill on. So this basically fits over the bar like so. So we'll bring that in. You want to try to align those screws with the middle of the bar. Now they say 14 to 17 Newton meters or 10 to 12 foot-pounds of torque. I think that's quite a bit. I snug it down and it seems to work just fine. You do want to be careful you're not too close to the edge here. You don't want to pinch that channel. But all right, let me get this thing fired up. I'll get my helmet on and we'll do our first cut. Well, before I get started, let's explain one more thing. You can see how it sits on this. Here's that guide bar. I keep on saying bar. Here's the guide beam. I have this all set up. You can see it sits vertically, so the chain's going to be pulling this way and throwing a bunch of chips up in the air. That again is why you want the wind at your back when you're doing this. Also, it helps if you got the chainsaw or the mill pointed downhill. I kind of have it reversed, kind of screwed up there, but I'm not going to mess with it now. So we're going to do our first cut and we'll see how it goes. Alright guys, that's how you set up the Granberg mini mill. Next up is going to be our first cut. As always, thanks for coming with me on this adventure. This is Matt with Master of None. Take care, God bless, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Have a good day.